Welcome to the Agloverd IT Solution podcast. Here you will get to hear audio detailing the information that is shared in our latest blogs, and today's topic is Kotlin versus Flutter, comparison of popularity, performance in 2022. So, without any further ado, let's deep dive into the details. It can be challenging to understand why cross-platform development is becoming more popular. As implied by the name, it enables enterprises to reach a wider audience by enabling the operation of apps across many platforms, including iOS and Android. According to Grand View Research, the global mobile application market has reached approx $187.58 billion in 2021 and is expected to increase at a CAGR of 13.4% from 2022 to 2030. In the battle of cross-platform mobile app frameworks, two players were battling it out for the throne, which is React Native and Flutter. Over the last decade, a new Java-based programming language has gained enough popularity that developers are starting to notice. This new language is Kotlin. There is a new debate going that catching the attention of many developers, that is Kotlin or Flutter, which one is better cross-platform mobile app frameworks if we compare two of them? The past standard programming frameworks for cross-platform development were Flutter and React Native. Developers used to utilize these languages a lot. However, currently, Kotlin has established itself in the developer community. Google formally launched Kotlin support for Android mobile app development in 2019. But it's also critical to remember that Google developed the open-source mobile application development framework known as Flutter. Kotlin and Flutter both have a Google label associated with them. Therefore, the crucial question for developers is which is more appropriate? To help people choose a mobile app development platform wisely, we will compare Kotlin and Flutter's unique features in this discussion. Let's take a quick note at both before delving into their differences. So, what is Kotlin? With 42.5 thousand GitHub stars, 5.2 thousand forks, 550 plus contributors on GitHub, Kotlin was initially designed for Java Virtual Machine and it is a general-purpose programming language developed by JetBrains in 2016. General purpose means the developers can share code data and business logic with various web programs. Hence, Kotlin can interact with Xcode and Swift for iOS, Android Studio, and Kotlin for Android. This makes Kotlin a flexible programming language that can interact with different native environments. The primary focus of Kotlin is on interoperability, clarity, safety, and one of the best part about Kotlin is that it uses multiple syntax and concepts such as Java, C#, etc. With these, users can have their native app experience. Also, the apps built on Kotlin generally observe minimum crashes and downtime because it brings easy solutions to programming misconceptions and errors. Up until now, we already have some idea that what Kotlin is. Let's have a look why Kotlin is looked at as a Java alternative. Java is the most known and widely accepted programming language amongst developers. However, ever since Kotlin has stepped into the market, the faith in Java seems to have taken a hit, and developers have started considering Kotlin as a better alternative. Java inspires Kotlin, and it is an improvised version of Java with more beneficial features. The language is clean, minimal, simple, and has fewer rules and formalities than Java. Google also announced Kotlin as an officially supported language to write Android apps in their Google I/O in May 2017. Nevertheless, Kotlin versus Java is a whole other debate for some other time. Moving forward into the discussion, how does Kotlin multi-platform work? Well, Kotlin multi-platform is an additional feature provided by Kotlin for enabling developers to reuse business logic by not imposing any rules on how they want to build their app user interface. This ensures that the app's performance, behavior, and appearance remain native. Native UI provides the best user experience to customers. Since we are comparing Kotlin with Flutter, we will learn how Kotlin multi-platform works for two of the best smartphone platforms, which is Android and iOS. When you start by writing the shared code in Kotlin, for Android, it will get converted to Java bytecode and be executed in the JVM. And for Apple, since it doesn't have a virtual machine, the Kotlin code would be converted to source code, which is a native code for iOS, that goes inside the framework. For converting Kotlin code to source code, you need to use Kotlin compiler divided into two components, which is front-end and back-end. The front-end part of Kotlin converts the Kotlin code to intermediate representation. The back-end converts intermediate representation to native code that is machine executable. This is possible due to the powerful Kotlin/native infrastructure built by JetBrains. Now let's discuss the prerequisites of Kotlin. If you want to learn Kotlin programming language, you should have a basic understanding of Java programming language with the exposure to any programming environment, and you should also have some basic knowledge of concepts like variables, syntax, and commands of the language. Digging deep into the topic, let's learn what are the features Kotlin has to offer. To start with, it supports cross-platform, and with few key features like code reusability, with the minimal coding, null safety, compatibility, and flexibility. It is emerging as the go-to programming language for Android development. Now, as every technology has pros and cons, Kotlin is no different from them. So, let's check out the advantages of Kotlin. First of all, Kotlin is a 100% Java code interoperable. It is easy to learn and maintain. Second, it is also known as a least buggy programming language and has easy bug detection feature. Third, Kotlin helps you increase team productivity, and last but not least, it is compatible with existing Java code. Moving on to its disadvantages, there are few limitations of Kotlin. They are: first, Kotlin has a smaller pool of talent. Second, it takes more time in compilation. Third, Kotlin has small developer community as the technology is still new. So these are some few limitations. Now, moving forward into the topic, some of the top companies uses Kotlin technology for their popular mobile apps are Airbnb, Netflix, Pinterest, Tinder, and Trello. So far, we have discussed what Kotlin is along with its features and other few things. Now let's have a brief discussion about what is Flutter. With 144,000 GitHub stars, 23.1 thousand forks and 1,000 plus contributors, Flutter is Google's open source and cross-platform UI software development kit. Google introduced Flutter in 2017, and it has been the talk of the town ever since. It helps developers to build unique native-like apps that have cross-platform abilities. It uses Dart as its programming language that makes use of ahead-of-time compilation. With Flutter, developers can use a single code base across various platforms such as Mac, Android, iOS, Windows, and Linux. That's why most tech companies looking to hire expert Flutter developer for their app development project. Now moving forward to how does Flutter work? Well, Flutter is built differently compared to most other frameworks. The Flutter framework is composed of widgets. These widgets are rendered on Skier canvas and sent to the platform. The platform shows the canvas and sends the needed events back. The Flutter architecture is divided into three broad categories. They are platform, engine, and framework. In the platform, Flutter provides a shell that hosts Dart virtual machine. The shell is platform specific, giving access to native platform, API and hosting and establishing control of the platform's relevant canvas. The next layer is engine. This layer provides Dart runtime, Skier platform channels, and more. The relevant Flutter engine compile inside the relevant platform shell. Finally, on top of this, you have Flutter framework. It is one of the most relevant frameworks for an app developer. It has all the necessary components you would need to develop your app as a developer. Now let's discuss the prerequisites of Flutter. First, it's required to have some basic knowledge of object-oriented concepts like class, methods, inheritance, objects, abstraction. Plus, you have to have some basic knowledge about the Dart language with Flutter technology is based on. Third, you should have some basic understanding of object-oriented languages like C, C++, and Java. Moving on to the next topic, which is what are the features Flutter has to offer? Number 1, Flutter is an open source language. It supports hot reloading. Third, it supports minimal coding. Last but not the least, you can access native features more easily. Now let's check out some advantages of Flutter, such as 1. It supports faster code writing, and one code can be used for two platforms. Third, Flutter need minimal testing. Lastly, it has consistent app UI on older devices. So these are some of the few advantages of Flutter. Moving ahead on disadvantages, there are some limitation of Flutter technology, and they are: Flutter need limited set of tools and libraries. It lacks password management support. Apps usually are heavy and chunky in size. Lastly, iOS support isn't that great. Now the list of the top company which uses Flutter-based mobile apps are Google Ads, Cred, PostMuse, SpaceX Go, and Shanu. So far, we have discussed what Flutter is along with its features and few other things. Now let's have a brief discussion about the difference between Kotlin and Flutter. Because there are such stark differences in both these mobile app development platforms, now that we have a better understanding of both the platforms, let us dive straight into the ultimate Kotlin versus Flutter comparison and see which one is better suited for your app development needs. Also, we will discuss about their differences on the following factors in a details, such as their popularity, learning curve of these technologies, their performance and other few things. Number 1, the popularity and market share of Kotlin and Flutter. Well, in terms of popularity, both Kotlin and Flutter are popular in mobile app development. There are plenty of reasons why Flutter shines, however Kotlin, with its features and functionalities, is one of the top mobile app development tools. When comparing in terms of popularity, Kotlin has 42.5 thousand stars and 5.2 thousand forks on GitHub. On the other hand, Flutter has 144,000 stars and 23.1 thousand forks. And, as per Google Trends, there is a steady rise in both the technologies. Moving forward, according to the Stack Overflow Developers Survey in 2022, Kotlin is used by 9.16% of developers. Regarding salary, as of 2021, the median yearly salary of Kotlin developers was $55,071, which increased to $69,318 in 2022. While talking about Flutter, it is used by 12.64% of developers. Moving on to the next topic, what is learning curve of both the technology? Well, one of the first things new developers are interested in knowing when deciding on a new framework is the learning curve that comes with it. Overall, Kotlin is easier to learn since Google has many detailed courses available for Kotlin, and it is also interoperable with Java. However, the focus of Kotlin currently is more on its extension Kotlin multi-platform. And there is limited documentation and resources available for it in the market compared to Flutter. Flutter has better comprehensive documentation compared to Kotlin. Number 3, let's discuss about the performance factors of both Kotlin and Flutter. As performance is an important factor to consider in the debate of Kotlin versus Flutter. When we discuss performance, Flutter gains points for hot reload and hot restart feature, allowing developers to change their codes and see its effect instantly, which speeds up the development process, making it easier to build apps. Kotlin has a different approach and provides more native features and components like Bluetooth, camera, and more. Moving on to the user experience perspective of Kotlin versus Flutter. Well, Flutter is a widget-oriented cross-platform framework. It has unparalleled customization options, allowing Flutter developers to create unique, functional, and scalable applications. Kotlin is a general-purpose language that makes it cross-platform capable. Using this language, Kotlin developers can easily create efficient applications without any issues. Number 5, let's talk about the third-party libraries and tools integration of both the technologies. So, Flutter is an open-source, cross-platform SDK. It provides easy integration of third-party UI development tools. Kotlin is a programming language that is capable of developing native-like cross-platform apps. For this, it makes use of native tools like Swift UI and Jetpack Compose. As Google backs Flutter, hence it lets Flutter developers leverage Firebase to write codes at the backend. Kotlin multi-platform allows developers to directly write the backend code without any hassle. So far, we have discussed about the difference between Flutter and Kotlin in terms of their popularity, performance and more. Now let's have a discussion about their pricing factor. Both Kotlin and Flutter are open source and free to make use of platforms. Flutter provides the fastest way to build an MVP, that is, minimal viable product. Moreover, it significantly reduces app development cost and time, as you can make Android and iOS apps using a single code base at the same time with Flutter. Since Kotlin is also open source, you can directly download it from GitHub and start using it. Number 8, support for testing in Flutter and Kotlin. Flutter has immense testing support for various features to test widgets, conduct unit testing, and app integration. Flutter's well-documented support also is a plus point. Flutter also works on Firebase, which is an efficient backend as a service tool. Flutter can integrate quickly with iOS and Android platforms, which makes the testing process easier. However, with Kotlin, you don't need to integrate. Kotlin is multi-platform, which enables developers to work using their native framework. This helps developers work with their native tools for cross-platform apps too. Moving on to the documentation and community. Flutter is relatively new and rising as a platform. It has one of the most impressive and extensive documentation amongst all popular frameworks for a relatively newer framework. Kotlin has decent documentation ready and is constantly working on improvising it for its developers. As far as community goes, Flutter already has 1000 plus contributors even after being a new platform compared to Kotlin that has 500 plus contributors on GitHub. Now let's have a discussion about our next topic, time to market. The quick experimentation and adjustments made possible by Flutter's hot reload speed up UI development. Stateful hot reload, along with a set of rich widgets, completely customizable architecture, and layered design, enables developers to offer a native-like user experience more quickly. Compared to Kotlin, Flutter appears a little quicker. Kotlin offers a lot more than that, though. Its clear syntax and code reuse make faster app development and shorter app-to-market times. Both frameworks significantly reduce development time by using a single codebase to create apps for several platforms, even though the program's complexity determines the coding speed. Last but certainly not least, when comparing Kotlin and Flutter, we need to keep in mind that job and market share of these two mobile app development frameworks. As a fresher who is looking to learn either one of the frameworks for career purpose, or as a company that is trying to decide between the two frameworks, market share and job opportunity can be important metrics to consider. Moving forward, both the technology is capable for developing efficient cross-platform apps. They both bring different advantages and limitations to the market. And since Kotlin is a programming language, we cannot directly declare a winner in the hot debate of Kotlin versus Flutter. It is anyway more beneficial for a developer to have a clearer idea of which tool to use for their requirements. So, when to use Kotlin? When you want a fast and lightweight application, when the app design needs to be minimal, and the app needs forms and pop-ups to work correctly, when there is no need for a cross-platform environment, and lastly, when the application is a commercial product for the end user. Kotlin is an ideal programming language for revamping your existing application. It is 100% interoperable with Java and simplifies the app editing process significantly. Kotlin also makes writing highly sophisticated and heavy codes easier. Its fail-fast compiler detects bugs automatically and resolves them instantly. As we have discussed about when to use Kotlin, now we will talk about when to use Flutter technology. When you want a full-fledged mobile application, and you want to create an app for retail businesses, when you want to create an app for fintech and banks, and last but not the least when your app needs to be made with a tighter deadline and budget restraints. Flutter is mostly famous for its unparalleled hot reload feature. Using this, a developer can instantly check the changes they make to the source code. Flutter is ideal for making an MVP product or prototype to show it to your potential investors. So, these were Kotlin versus Flutter comparison in 2022. Thanks for tuning in. For more such informative content, keep following our podcast.